Okay, welcome everybody to Saturday morning conference call, and get your pens out, get your tape recorders out, whatever you want to do, but you're in for a feast. I am telling you, today we're going to talk about is how to convert more sales, and this is going to be jam-packed. I'm going to be on for another 30-40 minutes, however long it takes to get you to become successful. So I need you to tune in, block off anything else you're doing out there, focus on this, because this is going to increase your sales. And when you're selling the analysis, it's not the easiest thing in the world to sell, as you know. It's an ego-threatening product. Even though people need the help, you know, and in our line of business, we're selling air, and air is what? They can't see it, right? So it's one of the toughest products ever to sell is consulting services, or analysis in our case, right? And so I wanted to kind of give you some basic stuff. I mean, just going to talk to you from my heart and tell you how to really get good at this so you can get selling every week, getting 4 or 5 sales every week. Some of the guys that are doing and making a ton of money. Okay, go back to the basics. Go back to the first day of training when you came in with us. Okay, let's talk about that. You know, you came in the class, what'd you learn? Basic stuff about the company and everything, okay? Now, I would like you to take out your training manuals, okay, and revise your training. There's a lot of good golden nuggets in there. Okay, and you're going to find that there's some basic stuff that we forget to even do anymore. And we get off tangent and look at the best, fastest way, that right, close we can use, the right phraseology, and, we look for the phrase that pays, that kind of stuff. So go back to your training manual. Look at your training manual this weekend. I want you to review your training manual. What are the basics that's in there? What do we teach you? Okay? We teach you about basically, how to get in the door, right? That's the basic. Once you're getting in the door, is how to do your presentation. And once we teach you that, how to do your presentation, we teach you about what? Basically how to close the sale, right? So basically what I want you to do is go back to the first day of selling, when you first went out there, and you talked about basically, how is it that I got where. What were you doing first before this? Some of you were selling all kinds of other stuff, right? You were successful at some point, obviously. That's why you're here. So look at what you learned from that. Now look at our training manual. What's in there? You're going to find there's some of the basics. Presentation skills. Do you have the right presentation skills? When you walk in the door, do you know what to say, how to say it in a nice, smooth fashion? Most of you don't even have the 2-minute drill down, okay? And when you go in, here's how I'm going to give you my whole presentation. How do you like that? Okay, and this is how it starts. When I go in, and my presentation, once you're sitting down with the client, this is how it goes. This client, I represent, ABC, whatever the company is, or ABS in our case, which is, no doubt knows, one of the world's largest business analysis company. What we do is we find out that most businesses are never the same. Every job we do is different. There's no two businesses alike. Would you agree with that? Yes. You notice that in the first few sentences, I got the client to agree to something that makes sense. Every business is different. Well, this is why our company has no set plan, no preconceived ideas about your business. Okay? And our focus is to, when we first sit down with you, is to listen to what you, as the client, want to get out of this business. So let me repeat what I just said. Our focus is to, when we sit down and listen to you, what you as a client want to get out of your business, what you're not getting out of this business, we want to focus on that. That's what we do in the initial meeting, okay? And it could be to increase profitability, it could be to get more volume in the business, or it could be to, improve your cash flow, or it could be to retire, or you could be just wanting to improve productivity. There's hundreds of areas in a business could improve. Now, I'm not here to talk to you about all of them, okay? But that's what the initial stage, what a senior business analyst does, okay? Now, in order to do this, it's very simple. We come in, take a look at the business, front door to the back door, floor to the ceiling. We look at over 250 components to your business that's affecting 3 main areas. Number 1, anything that's affecting your volume, your profitability. And number 3, anything that's below your standard of doing business. The analyst checks to find out why and how it's affecting your business. But most important of all, he's going to determine what you should do to improve the business. Okay, he's going to lay out the plan of action for you. Now, to do this, he uses charts, graphs, radios to support his findings. He's not just going to give you a bunch of lip service. Now, for you to know that anything you share with us, including this conversation today that I'm having with you, Mr. Client, is 100% confidential. As you can see, here's my bond, that we're bonded for $2 million, each and every one of our employees. Anything you share with us about your companies is 100% confidential. So I can't even mention to anybody else that we would even hear. Okay. Now, so that I can talk to you more intelligently about your business and how we could assist you, I have a couple of quick questions, if I may. The client says, okay. And then you say, well, number one, how long have you been in business? 20 years. Awesome. Okay. Let me now, after 20 years, obviously you built a nice organization. I walked in here. You got a very fine, nice establishment here. How many employees are you up to now? Okay, good. Tells you what it is, 20, maybe it's 10 employees, whatever. And I don't want to know the exact, but just a ballpark. Last year, what do you think your gross sales were with 10 employees? You notice how I said that? How do I ask for the volume? Most reps can't get the volume out of the client because the client doesn't want to share it with you because there's no credibility. But I ask it in a specific way. I attach the employees when I ask the volume, and then I say ballpark. I don't need to know the exact, but ballpark. With 10 employees, what kind of volume did you do in sales last year? And if I see that he's hesitating at that point, I throw a number at him if I see that he's hesitating. So I might say, what do you think? $1 million, $2 million, $3 million? Then I get some kind of reaction. He goes, yeah, I'm about $2 million or $1 million, right? Once I got that, I write all these down. Now, you obviously want to talk about the success of their business first. So I always say, Mr. Client, in any business we go into, there's a reason why they're successful. Okay? Let me ask you a question. You've been in business for 20 years, or however long it is, okay? There's a reason why you're successful. If I was a customer, okay, right now sitting in front of you, okay, and I've got my checkbook in my hand right here, and I was interested in buying your product and services, whatever it is, okay, what are your 3 top main competitive advantages that only you offer that nobody else does? In other words, that would make me feel that, hey, I'm obligated. I should want to buy it. I should want to do business with you. What would be the top 3 main areas that you find are your key points that makes you head and shoulders above your competition? Well, let's just say 2 even, maybe not 3. Okay? So I let the client tell me his successes. What is the strengths of his company? I talk about this, so he gets proud of this. You see, you're building up his ego. So that's awesome, Mr. Client. Oh, wow, you've got a great reputation. You offer a money-back guarantee. Your customers like you because of great delivery service, whatever it is, right? You build on his successes. Now that you got his successes, now on your scratch pad, on the right-hand side, you draw a line. You say, with all due respect, how great you are, and I can see that you're successful. Every great company is always looking to maximize and improve their business. Would you agree with that? Every great company is always looking to do that, the entrepreneurs. Would you agree with that? They're going to say yes. Well, I can see that you're one of those companies. You definitely are, Mr. Client. Now, with that in mind, okay, what are your top 3? Just 3. You don't have to give me a ton of them, okay? Now, notice how I merchandise that, how I market it, because I want the client to think that there's more than 3, because there's so many business problems these people have. The more business problems they tell you, the easier it is to get the sale, because there's more motivation for them to take action and do something. So, with the economy the way it is, Mr. Client, and the competition you can see all around us, and the way that things are happening in this world, every business today, okay, there's always challenges and problems in there. Would you agree? Okay. What would be your top 3, just 3, top 3 main areas you would like to see improved in this company? There could be challenges, concerns, or problems. And at that point, you have to give them options. Okay? Usually, if you just sit there and just wait for him to tell you what they are, they're going to say, well, we're doing fine. And you got nothing. That happens. So why don't we get the issues out ourselves? And when I was in school, I found out that when I was doing exams, okay, and I noticed that the multiple choice exams were the easiest for me. I wasn't that smart. So I just found out that multiple choice exams were easier. I hate the essays one, the one you got to write 500 word essays and all that stuff, right? So what I used to do is say, listen, What would you say are your top 3 main concerns? And here you slap out the list. You take out the 44 and you go over the top part of the 44. It has a list of 13 key areas, or you can take out the brochure where it has a list of all those key areas in a business. You say, here's something that will make it easy for you to choose. Let's look over this page here, and I'm going to go down the list. Now watch this. Most reps don't do this. That's why they don't make big money, what I'm about to tell you right now. Okay? You see on this, you've got, let's say, 30 key areas in a business. Mr. Klein, before you answer this question, your top 3 main areas, let's grade each area from a scale of 1 to 10. 10 meaning you're perfect at it, okay? And nobody's perfect, okay? The closest I've seen everybody get was a 9. But nobody's always a 1 in these areas either. They're not terrible either, okay? So somewhere between 1 and 9, we're going to choose these numbers, okay? So let's go down the list quickly. Cash flow. How do you rate your cash flow? Is it terrible, like 9, or is it like where? And just get them to do all those things. Grade all those areas, okay? And you're going to find that if you start grading, go ahead. If you start grading all of those areas, okay, you're going to do is what? You're going to actually isolate and define the issues. The client will have what? Clarity about his problems in his business. When you get the problems on his business on the table, I'm telling you, you're 50% there. You're 50% there to closing the sale when you get the issues on the table. Now what you have to do is do the spin selling on each of these issues. And I'm going to go through this with you. Okay, you most have heard these spin selling questions. But you know what? Most reps have not internalized it, the spin selling questions, like as if it's their name. Okay? What they've done is basically learned them, and they're like a robot in there. How long have you had this issue? What's it costing you? What you've done to fix it? You know, it's like they're giving it out as if they have to memorize it. So why don't we do this? Write them on a computer, okay? Print them out so you have it nice and neat. How long have you had this issue? You fill in the blanks. Make him do it if you want. Take it on a piece of paper and show it them. Say, let's write this down. Number 1, cash flow. 2, productivity. Lack of sales. All of these things. Number 2, what have you done to fix it? Mr. Kahn, let's answer these questions right now, because they will be very thought-provoking questions. These questions, I find that 90% of business owners don't even have the answer to them. They don't. 90% of business owners don't have the answers to these 4 spin selling questions. There's actually 5, but I'm just going to go with 4. And therefore, if they don't have the answer to the questions, they can't be more profitable. They can't be as successful as they should be. And if you go over those 4 spin selling questions, they're in the manual. Okay, if you don't have them, you can go get the book too. It's online, spin selling, right? And get those questions, rivet them in your head, know it like your name, because that right there is what separates you from the average rep that makes $20,000, $30,000 a year in our business to that makes over $150,000 in our business. Okay? Because if you internalize those spin selling questions, you are not going to look like a salesman. You're going to look like somebody who's a professional consultant. They will come flocking to you when you ask these questions in the right way. Okay? Write the answers down, and then once you have these problem costing, and here's the thing, we don't do enough problem costing. Mr. Client, you're rating these issues right now from a scale of 1 to 10, right? And here's how you do problem costing. It's very simple. The client's rating some issues maybe a 5, or maybe a 6, maybe a 7. And then you immediately ask them, what do you think it should be? If we can get you up to 9 or up to an 8 from a 6, how much money do you think that would mean to the bottom line? And Mr. Client, I know you don't know the answer, because that's a question for the analyst. But imagine this. Let's put some numbers, because you know what? We run about 400 or 500 analyses a week on average, right? On an average, 400 to 400 analyses a week, we figured out that an average company that is your size and type loses, and emphasize on the word loses, because they don't like to say, if we can help you make more money, people don't like to hear that. But if they're losing money, there's more motivation behind that. We find that an average company of your size and scope misses out on or loses out on 3 to 10% additional profits straight to the bottom line. Now, it's hard for you to believe this, Mr. Klein, but you know, when I joined this company, I was shocked too. But after I figured out of all these clients, they're becoming that more profitable with our systems, controls, procedures. Okay, you notice I already talked about consulting, systems, controls, procedures. They actually were able to generate 3 to 10% more to the bottom line. That enabled to them to do what? Have more time for their family. They're able to go take longer vacations and sink their cold feet in the hot sand in Hawaii or in Honolulu. You got to throw the dream in there, because if you throw the dream in there, what happens is that they get free and they're stuck in this thing. There's a big benefit. People buy benefit, they don't buy features, right? They don't buy features, they buy the benefit. What's the end result of that? So that way you can, go to the recitals and be able to take the time off on a Friday afternoon. You notice that, and if you're making a sale on a Friday, it should be a sale. They should be home relaxing, playing golf. Why are they working all this time? So use that to motivate the client. This is all about passion and no motivation sale. This is a one-call close. I'm there to excite the client. I'm there to move the client, provoke the client to take action, to do something, right? And sometimes what I used to do is stand up. When I'm sitting with a client, if I see the client is not getting motivated, to take action, I stand up and walk back and forth, in his office and talk like as if I'm doing a seminar. Because guess what? If you ever go to a seminar, you'll see that the audience is riveted to the speaker, especially if it's a good speaker, right? And they listen to them and they take action. They're almost like hypnotized. So what you need to do is to motivate the client to stand up and say, Mr. Let me just show you. And I always like to do. What also happens is when you stand up and you walk around a little bit, it releases tension, because the client looks at you as that you're more like a consultant, a speaker, rather than a salesman trying to close them on something and only looking at your best interest. And you move around, and I used to do is move around and go and touch the client on his shoulder. I said, let me ask you a question. And I touch the client on his... There's a hypnotic effect when you touch the client on his... Be careful you touch him, right? But on his shoulder, and say, let me ask you a question. And you open a piece of something from your brochure, and you explain it to them and say, I want to show you something. There's a client here we did, blah, blah, blah. And you could use a testimonial at that time, show him something out of your critical variable checklist, and show more benefit to excite the client. And ask them, say, here's an example. Look, here's some critical variables that we analyzed in a company. We found out that the break-even point was at 28 days in a month. We came in and lowered their break-even point to 21 days. Now, Mr. Client, this is all mumbo-jumbo, business stuff I'm throwing at you. But the bottom line is, you know what a break-even point is, right? They're going to say, some of them don't even know what a break-even point is. Mr. Client, these are some basic stuff you ought to know. They're going to throw it off. My accountant looks at all that. No, it's not your accountant's responsibility. Let me ask you a question, Mr. Client. Whenever they ask you, throwing me at their accountant, I say, if we increase your net profit, does that go to your pocket or your accountant's pocket? It goes into your pocket. So you should be concerned about the break-even point, right? So we took a company, and how did we lower their break-even point? We took some excessive variable cost in their business. Variable cost is a semi-fixed cost, something that fluctuates, based on the number of sales coming in. You know what I mean by that? Now, you're not trying to confuse the client, but you're trying to get him to understand that you're articulate, that this is business that he should know about, and guess what? You're increasing your level of intelligence at that point. The client looks at you and goes, this guy, boy, he's got some smarts. I wish my employees were like this. And guess what? He's being convinced. He's definitely going to take action, because, nobody likes to feel confused, right, Mr. Client? It's very simple. If your break-even point could be lowered by 20 or 30%, like in this case, you're able to change your pricing on the 22nd day, not wait till the 29th day of the month, which means you only got 2 days left. So you're able to lower your price on the 21st day, 22nd of the month, and guess what? Get that business that you've been going after and beat your competition. And you can do this to increase sales. You can do it to increase your profit too. You can do this to hire more employees. This tool, break-even point, is a very diversified effect to your business. And let me just show you what a break-even point looks like. And by the way, guys, you should have a break-even point in your presentation and showing on all your sales you make on all your presentation. The break-even point, the cash flow analysis, the trend analysis, you should have in your kit. Now, you're going to say to me, we didn't ever got that. I know. That's why you're not average. Your typical rep out there doesn't produce these kind of sales that I'm talking about. They use these kind of tools. You can get them on Google. Just go on Google and hit break even in there and hit images, and you'll get copy. You'll see a bunch of different print out one, put it in your kit. Trend analysis. Just be creative, So I want you to, start thinking like an innovative salesperson. Everything we give you is good, but take that idea and spin off of it. Make it a little bit better. Take a chart and graph out of there and then show it to the client. And say, look at this, Mr. Client. Imagine what your break even would look like. Would you like to see that? I mean, this is part of the analysis we give you for a measly $750 or $1,300. You know what it would take to do a break even for your accountant? It would take them a day to do it. We have some proprietary software that can snap out a break even point of your company literally within an hour or so. And plus, keep this in mind, it's not just one analyst working on your case here. We got a team of 4 to 5 experts that work in tandem, okay, that work as a team. So whenever you get a recommendation from us, it's not been given to you by one person. It's been going around the home office where we have 4 to 5 what we call executive council. Yeah, that's a new one. Most people don't even use that term anymore. The executive council works with that analyst that comes out here, and they are the brains of the company here. These guys are really, really sharp. They're like the PhDs of management consulting. And they help the analyst to figure out the right solution to your challenges that you shared with the analyst on the first day you met with them. So I encourage you, when the analyst is here, is not just to challenge the analyst, but even challenge the analyst saying, hey, maybe you'd like to talk to the executive council, not just the analyst. And they could put you on the speakerphone and you have the executive council or home office working with you. Wow. Tons of information that's targeted, that's going to help you get to the next level in your business. Now, isn't that exciting? That's the way you got to talk. Because when you get excited and you talk to the client as if it's your company being analyzed and you are getting this analyst, I mean, wouldn't you, see something like that happening for your own, if you guys had your own business? You could say yes to that question. Okay, so that's the kind of information, the impact you're going to have. You're going to have a break-even analysis done for you we'll even do it for your product line. We'll even do it by the day. How much break-even, how much money you need per day to break even. We're going to do that for you if you like. Just ask the analyst. That's what he's here for. We're going to do a cash flow trend analysis. What does that mean? Not a bunch of mumbo jumbo here. Cash flow trend analysis. When you come in every morning, Mr. Klein, there's a thing we can show you that every morning you'll have a cash flow report. It'll show you where your company stands, where your true costs are the day before. So you know where every penny in this company, where it went yesterday. Right now, you don't have what we call real-time information. You don't have that. Because if I asked you where your true costs are, every morning you should have it printed out by your secretary. There's a system that can do that for you. So guess what? Because that way you can measure your key areas in your business. Mr. Klein, you and I know you have a lot of moving parts in your business. You're putting on so many hats. There's so many things you got to be careful in this business. Liability issues, employee productivity. There's so many things. Your name is on this business, right? So something happens, boom. You get the credit and you also get the fault, right? So wouldn't it be nice to have a business that has systems, controls, and procedures in place, streamlined, and run like an autopilot, okay? Autopilot business, where you have very minimal things to do, and you can go home when you want to, maybe not right away when you walk in the door, but you can go home at 2 o'clock rather than be stuck in here at 5 and 6 every night. That's what we do for our clients. Now, you may be thinking this is a big pipe dream, but you know what? In most cases, we can structure your business so it runs that way. Now, let me ask you a question. How many hours a week are you working in this business? They say, well, we're working 60 hours a week. So you're working more than full time, right? What do you think your time's worth? Okay, let's say your time's worth $100 an hour. You're an executive, you're an owner of this company, right? You're an entrepreneur. Let's say your time is worth $100 an hour, right? When you get in here every morning at 5 o'clock in the morning or 6 or 8, whatever time, and you go home at 6 at night, right? The task that you perform, okay? I don't know if you keep track of your daily activities. The tasks that you're performing, what your functions are every day, there's things that you do between 8 o'clock in the morning and 6 at night that could be delegated or not have to be done at all, or a system can handle it. that means that your $100 per hour, the task that you're performing, could be done by somebody that you can pay $20 for per hour, right? That means if you're doing that, that means you're wasting $80 per hour doing that task, right? So that means you're losing $80 per hour in profitability. You're robbing from the company because you're the owner, right? So this is one of the things we analyze, is to figure out what your functions are, what you're good at, where do you have the biggest benefit to this company. And the analyst is going to be able to figure that out after the second day. He's got to look at you, see what you're doing. That's why he works off to the side and stays in your business. And therefore, on the second day, he's going to be able to produce that for you. Okay? So, if we can show you some strategies, systems, controls, procedures, give you break-even charts, graphs, ratios. There's going to be about 85 ratios that you're going to be seeing from this analysis. If we can show you all of that and put it in front of you, do you think this will have a positive effect on your business or a negative effect on your business? By the way, the answer is positive, Mr. Client. I'll make it easy for you. Answer the question sometimes. You have to do that. You have to put a little theatrics with a client. You smile at the client. That's right. You've just made the right decision. And what I would do at that point is stick your hand out and say, thank you for making your great decision. Activates, it's a sale. A lot of times the sales are made on a handshake, right? But guess what? Most people wait till you get the signed 44, then shake the client's hand. But if you shake the client's hand, say, you've just made a wise decision. That's a great decision, Mr. Client. It's obviously going to have a positive effect on your business. Okay? At that point, all you do is you take your pen, take the 44, and you look at the 44 and you say this: what's the exact spelling of your company? And you look down on the 44. Don't look the client in the eye. Because if you look the client in the eye, he's going to give you an objection. But if you look at the 44, he's going to tell you the name of his company because they always know it. I don't know why, but it's a pretty easy thing for them to know. Okay? So you look them down the page of paper and you say, what's the exact spelling of your company? You look down. They'll tell you, and you write it. ABC Enterprises. Good. At that point, what you do is you spin the 44 and you put it in front of them, put the pen on the 44, the pen facing away from the client. There's a reason for that psychology. Just do it. All right? And the client will pick up the pen and make sure before you do that, put a check mark where the client has to authorize it, not an X. Check mark. Check marks are positive. X's are mistakes. You don't want any negative at that point, because this is a very threshold moment right now where the client is going to make a decision to sign his name on the 44 or the agreement, right? So you got to do that. If you do it step by step, exactly like the way I'm telling you, you will make more sales. You'll have signed 44s. You're going to be calling it a schedule. You say, hey, I'm calling it a schedule. I need an analyst that can do these things. And you say that. When you call into merchandise, just put these words in front of your merchandise. I need an analyst, and then fill in the blank for whatever issue the client has. I need an analyst that can help him with sales and marketing. I need an analyst that can help him with cash flow. I need an analyst that can help him with productivity of his employees. And you keep saying, I need. Now, I've said this thing many times in the conference calls, but I don't know why some reps just don't get it. They just don't want to make enough money, maybe. Okay? And I'm being straight up with you. I don't want to sugarcoat this thing. I'm telling you like it is. But this is how you make money. I'm giving you the formula. So what I'm trying to say is these words coming out of my mouth, you see them? They're coming right at you, okay? Take these words, plant them in your brain, and then hit the play button when you're in front of a client, and guess what will spit out of your ATM machine? Cash, money in your pocket. You'll be making money if you just do these things. Now, some people say, oh, I tried that, it didn't work. I'm talking to you from 24 years of selling this thing. 24 years. You're going to learn it in 1 hour and then have the ability to do it like the way I do it? I don't think so. 24 years, compact that in 1 hour? No. It's going to take time, right? Obviously. So, it's conditioning. You got to practice it over and over. Practice your delivery when you're at home. Record this thing, record yourself in front of, get in a little, on your camera. You guys have cameras on your phones now. Record this and watch yourself. See how you look like in front of a client. And act as if you're very persuasive. There's a thing called, what you think about is what you become. You heard of that before? Okay. So your thoughts, determine your actions, right? And your actions, what? determine what? Results. So what you got to do is just change the way you're thinking. When you're walking into a business, you're already thinking that I have a sale. You're already thinking that, right? If you're not thinking like that, okay, you're going to say, oh, I'm going to give it a try. I'll see what I can do, what average people think, what's going on in the news. They listen to the news. Here, you see, I'm in my car right now, and look, no radio, okay? If I hit this thing, you know what you're going to hear? Dale Carnegie, How to Win Friends and Influence Me. That's what's been playing in here, okay? Stuff like that is what's in here. So if that's in here and it's going into my ears right now, right, and then it's coming out of my mouth, guess what's happening? I'm getting what I want because I'm thinking about what I want. So thoughts into words into action produce results. So it all starts from what's coming into your head. So when you walk in and your attitude is 50-50, well, you're maybe going to get a 50-50 sale. Most likely there's so much negative out there in this world that you get bombarded. It's like Niagara Falls, coming on you all the time. And therefore, it results into a sale maybe once or twice a week, maybe. Okay? You've got to be extremely, extremely positive when you're in front of a client. Nothing can penetrate you in a negative way. That's how you got to think. Anyway, that's it, folks. Go out and do it. I mean, simple as that. Now you have the knowledge. If you've been recording this thing, and I hope you have, listen to this a couple of times this weekend, and keep it with you, because there's things that I've said in here. There's some phraseologies, what I call it the phrase that pays, and learn those phrases verbatim and just talk to the client and the same way like I had those questions you've got, and just boom, get the sale. When you're in front of a client, you know the right things to say at the right time, sales happen. When you don't know what to say at the right time, the right questions and everything, usually you don't get the sale. All right? Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.